Good afternoon, VC. Harris here again with another video. Thought I'd address one of the issues I've seen on the VC recently. The increase in adverts on VC videos. I'm pretty clear about this. As far as I'm concerned, I'm against it. We're music lovers. We're not salesmen. And when I see those VC videos with maybe 2 or 3 adverts, my stomach starts to rumble. And that's when I reach for pot noodle. Pot noodle. Tasty. Different. How do they pack so much flavour into one pot? I don't know, but I'm glad they do. That's pot noodle. I wouldn't leave home without it. Available from local retailers. Volume of contents may vary. Is that right? Anyway, today I thought I was watching Norman Maslow's channel last week. I like Norman Maslow's channel. I don't even think I subscribed to it, but it just pops up in my feed. That's you know you've arrived in the VC when you've got that kind of power. And he did single record live albums, the best, which I thought was a good one, because when I was growing up, all my mates' dads had big record collections, and they always had like live albums, and they were like doubles or triples. And I think you made a good point that the single record live album is a little bit more unusual, or certainly was, probably maybe a little bit, became a bit more popular in the 80s, possibly. So I've picked what I think are my bests. I think it's better than Norman's list. This is like a David versus Goliath, but this time the giant isn't going to win, because I think my list is pretty decent, although I don't have many compared to him. First up, probably a bit of an obvious one. MTV Unplugged in New York. MTV Unplugged in New York. Nirvana MTV Unplugged in New York. Brilliant album. Everyone knows it. Absolutely superb. I don't need to say much about this one. But just an utterly superb album. And I know I've read a lot about Cooke. I mean, he was really depressed after recording this. He thought he'd really fluffed it. But obviously it's just one of those moments. It works like a charm. And yeah, brilliant album. Next up, is this the greatest live album of all time? A lot of people say so. And when I say a lot of people, I mean me. But I've seen other people say it. Jerry Lee Lewis, live at the Star Club in Hamburg, 1964. Jerry Lee Lewis, by this point in his life I think was rapidly going down the tubes. I doubt if he even remembers playing this gig. Certainly, it was, I dare say, I mean, if you think you've had a bad day, a good day for Jerry in 1964 was probably waking up, remembering that he was still married to 3 people and a £1 million tax bill coming through the door. This is absolutely superb. He's backed up by the Nashville Teens, who were like a British R&B band, and you can tell by side 2, they're knackered. It's all falling apart. They can't keep up with him. Jerry is just flying through all his hits. I Got a Woman, High School Confidential, What I Say, Great Balls of Fire, Good Golly Miss Molly. It's absolutely awesome. He's playing in front of about 1,000 German rockabillys, and it's brilliant. Halfway through, they start chanting like Jerry, Jerry, and you can tell he's so out of it. I think he's like, oh yeah, and he starts Jerry. He's forgotten his name, I think, and I think they've reminded him, and he starts chanting his own name, and it's absolutely, this is fantastic. Jerry Lewis, live at the Star Club, Hamburg, live at the Star Club, Hamburg, 1964. I think it might be the greatest live album ever, but it's absolutely brilliant. Next up, maybe a little bit contentious, this one. The Velvet Underground, live at Max's Kansas City. This is a weird one. 1970, they're playing in front of about 30 people, I would say, because all these live albums got something similar. I think they all take you into the gig. The audience play a huge role in all of these albums. Yeah, and it's the dream set list. It's just above bootleg quality, but it's great. You're right in there with them. I think it might have been Lou Reed's last gig, I've got a feeling. And it's got Doug Yule and Billy Yule, Sterling Morrison. So it's not the A team when it comes to the Velvet Underground. But it's really good. I always love this. I'd say it's got an absolutely fantastic track list. The audio quality maybe is a little bit 6 out of 10, but it's always been a real favourite of mine. Yeah, so Velvet Underground, live at Max's Kansas City. Sure you can pick this up cheap now. Next up, not an album, it's an EP really, Butthole Surfers live PCPP EP, which is the 12-inch that came after their first 12-inch, which was called either A Brown Reason to Live or I think PP the Sailor, depending on what edition you've got. And this is basically almost the same tracks, but recorded live at Meridian in San Antonio. I imagine, and by the sounds of it, not in front of a lot of people, to be honest. Includes the amazing song The Shah Sleeps in Lee Harvey's Grave, which includes the unforgettable lyric, there's a time to live, there's a time to die, I smoke Elvis Presley's toenails when I want to get high. Let me ponder that a moment, yeah. Words to live by there. But yeah, the Butthole Surfers live PCPP EP, absolutely fantastic. Next up, this is a killer. Bobby Gentry live at the BBC. I love Bobby Gentry, and she's becoming really popular again. I think Flaming Lips have just covered one of her albums, the Delta Sweetie, to a disastrous effect actually. I've got the Delta Sweetie by Bobby Gentry. It's a fantastic album. But yeah, Bobby Gentry was really big in England in the 60s, and the BBC gave her a 3 series where she basically hosted it and bands came in, and this is like the live recording of all the musical bits she did, and yeah, absolutely fantastic this. And I work with when I'm in the office, I sit opposite a girl who looks exactly like Bobby Gentry, has all the 60s makeup, and now we work at home, she's blocked me on Microsoft Teams, which is a shame, but yeah, absolutely fantastic this. It's got Mississippi Delta on it, Ode to Billy Joe, Sweet Peony, Reflections. I mean, it's just a brilliant album, and Bobby Gentry, fascinating. Just disappeared after 1970. Didn't want the fame. Disappeared. No one really knows what's happened to her, but yeah, absolutely fantastic. Bobby Gentry live at the BBC. Next up, Donnie Hathaway live. Absolutely, if you know this one, it's killer. I love Donnie Hathaway, amazing voice. I never felt his albums quite hit the spot, but this one does, and the crowd play a huge part in this. They're singing along, they're chanting. When it gets to the Ghetto, if you know this, there's about a 9-minute version of the Ghetto, and it becomes pretty transcendent, and the crowd are lost in it, and oh, it's just fantastic. Donnie Hathaway live. I think it was taken over a few gigs, but it's a beautiful album, and I love it. It is a single, despite the gatefold. Next up, probably the man responsible for me having such a vast record collection. Sam Cooke, live at the Harlem Square Club. Incredible record. I would put this above James Brown's live at the Apollo. Again, the crowd are so involved in this, and it's better than any Sam Cooke. Sam Cooke I love, you know, and as I said, one of my first albums I ever bought was a compilation, The Man and His Music, when I was 13, of Sam Cooke, and that's what got me obsessed by buying records, really. I mean, I bought records before, but now I was really obsessed, and this is absolutely fantastic. It's got Chain Gang on, Cupid, Twisting the Night Away, and then side 2, Bring It On Home to Me, Nothing Can Change This Love, Somebody Have Mercy. He plays off the crowd, he's on fire. It's utterly brilliant. I will say, the CD version sounds better than the vinyl version. I don't know, I've got both, and the CD version is way better mixed. The crowd are louder, the instruments are louder, but yeah, this is utterly brilliant, and I love Sam Cooke. And my last one, Kool and the Gang, live at the Sex Machine. This came out in, I think, 1970. This is when Kool and the Gang were kind of like, almost like a bit of a James Brown funk act. And this is absolutely brilliant. I really recommend this. It's mostly instrumentals. I'm not sure how live it is, because I've listened to this and I think there's about 12 seconds of live, of audience live chanting and that, and they just loop it. When you listen to this, they just loop the same bit of audience reaction time and time again. So it might be live, or it may not be live, I don't know. It kind of sounds live, but it's got Walk On By, Chocolate Buttermilk, Who's Going to Take the Weight. This is absolutely pillaged by Public Enemy. The Public Enemy production team, Bomb Squad, must have loved this album, because they absolutely tore it apart for the first 2 Public Enemy albums, or first 3. There's so many Public Enemy samples in this album. In fact, I think Public Enemy have got a song called Who's Going to Take the Weight, and that's one of the songs on here. It's brilliant. So yeah, Kool and the Gang live at the Sex Machine. So that's my favourite single disc live albums. I think I might do a double disc live albums next, who knows. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye now.